good evening to you. Thank you for being here. My name is Vivian Degwa. This is The Nest, and as is the usual right here, we bring you the best of stories. We bring you the best of conversation. We try and inspire you. We try and inform as well as educate and entertain you every single time we are here. Now today is no different. I have with me a sports champion. His name is Jermaine Odhiambo and is the founder of Wima Sports, and he is here to help me with this conversation that we'll be having, which is on championing sports development. If you can just give us a bit of a backstory of who exactly Jermaine is.
Yeah, so Jermaine is, an enthusiast, sports enthusiast, and a guy who looks up to making a difference wherever he steps, because as a believer, we are called to stewardship, and stewardship comes with growth and development. And that's what, even in the creation stories, we were commanded to go ye and dominate and have dominion. And dominion is not just possession, but also development and growth. So that's my philosophy and foundation. Yes.
All right, let's talk about your initiative, your company, that is Wima Sports.
Yes.
Just tell us a bit about what it's all about. What do you do?
Yeah, so Wima Sports, as the name says, Wima means farm. Haitingiki in Kiswahili means not shakeable, and it stemmed from getting to manifest a story of resilience, a story of building a career in sports. In Kenya and most of African countries, sports is observed as leisure, as something to do on the side. But as the world is developing in this day and age, sports is coming to reality in Africa and Kenya, that it's also a fully fledged career that someone can earn from. But for that to happen, there are a lot of development and things around that has to be built and brought into existence. And through that vision and thought of manifesting sports as a career, we started Wima Sports to tell athlete stories, because you realize not so much stories are told about athletes. We only get to see them when they win, but we don't know what they go through, what they journey through. And brands as well and corporates, don't walk with them through this journey, as you see in, the developed countries. So we just get to know the victory side, but sometimes we don't get to know the process. And we bring into a picture an important aspect, which is telling stories through documentaries, which is rarely or not so much done in this part of the world. So we champion sports development through documentaries, through drafting professional programs for athletes and teams, through an important aspect, which is sports recovery. There's a unit you see there that's charging. It's a unit that helps an athlete recover real fast from training. And I won't say the name, but if you want to see it, look for me.
Yeah.
Yes. So recovery is key in sports and championing sports development. Why? An athlete trains for hours, maybe half a day, then another session in the evening, then probably same thing tomorrow. Growth and development happens during recovery, not during training. So those are things that we are bringing on board, and sports science, and we are trying to get these conversations going within what we do at Wima Sports.
Okay, there's something you mentioned, when you say that sports, or someone being an athlete or a sports person, it is a full-fledged career. And most times maybe in Kenya or even in Africa, sometimes it may be debatable, because I'm sure there are young children who, when you ask them, who do you want to become when you grow up, and then they say a footballer, maybe in the house they'll be, that dream may be shut down, because probably it may be looked as if it may be looked at rather as though it's not really as paying in the country. But I mean, look at the outside world, you know,
Yeah.
people are earning good money from just being, you know, a basketballer, a footballer, you know, and so on and so forth. So maybe if just from where you sit, what do you think should be done for us to get to a point where in Kenya, sports is seen as a career and an actual career? You're not asked what else do you do on the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes the process of creating awareness, first for guardians and parents to understand that an athlete or a student athlete can get to balance both sports and academics. And this has changed a lot over the years. If you look at the time we were growing up, guys born in the 80s and 90s, you know, our parents were like academics, you know, fully fledged, nothing else, you know.
Yeah.
And personally, being the first son in our family, I just to tell a short story, I struggled through playing and studying because, you know, parents were like, yeah, they were supportive, but, you know, they were still in that mindset of, hey, you know, education is what will get you success
Yeah.
and studying. But when I cleared high school and I got a sports scholarship, they're like, what? So this can pay your fee?
Yeah.
Okay, you see? So my bro, who's 9 years younger than me, got it easy in terms of support and everything. So just back to get to your question is, an athlete, let me start by saying a statistics. Between 2050 and 2060, 60% of the global youth in the world will be from Africa.
60%.
60%, you know.
Yeah. What are you basing this on?
There's if you I've forgotten the guys who did the research, but if you just Google it, you'll find it. And I should have shared that name, but 60%, it's in the internet. If you Google, you'll find that research done by 2050, 2060. So what does that tell you? That tells you that there are grown products out there, EPL, NBA, NFL, NCAA for the college basketball in the US, and college sports in the US. These are products that will be needing, you know, people to come and fill in. You know, they need continuous flow of talent. So if the entire world is sharing 40% of the youth, and we are having 60% of the youth, then that means all these guys will be recruiting from Africa. So what we need to do as Africa, as Kenya, is be ready for that time. One athlete needs about 7-8 professionals around him or her. This
really?
This is a coach.
Yeah.
And a coach, there's a fundamentals coach, there's strength and conditioning coach, there's mental health coach, or the mind coach. There's a physiotherapist. There's the surgery guys who help with injuries when they get an injury. There's the media people around him, you know, people who are to deal with comms. You know, there is, I can go on and on, there's a nutritionist. All these people gain from just one athlete.
And this is something that I think most of us don't look at, or we don't see it, or it's because it's not shown to us. Yeah.
Yes. So that shows you how much potential, you know, sports has, because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Just out of one team can create employment for
so many people,
over 20, 30 people alone, you see.
Yeah.
And if I had a chance, you know, even to sit with the president, I'll advise him to concentrate more on sports and developing talent, and build policy frameworks around making sports a fully fledged career and not just a part-time thing. We've not even gotten into the sports marketing aspect of it, you know. So all these things are things that need to be built a piece at a time, a block at a time. It's a process.
Yeah.
For EPL to reach where it reached, it took years, but it's a process of doing the right things. Each and every brick that you lay has to be the right brick. towards that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you define success in sports development?
Success in sports development is how you get to pick a potential talent, give it the opportunity, or give that talent the opportunity to grow, little bit of support here and there, and this talent progresses from one level to the other. It doesn't have to be to the highest level, but there's progression, then that is success, you know.
Yeah.
To me, success is progress. Even if you don't get the best of the best title, but you've made progress. And that's progress not for today only, that's progress for tomorrow, because now we have data to build onto for the next athlete, for the next person, for the next sports personality.
Yeah.
Yes.
What initiatives would you say should be introduced, you know, even in the grassroots levels, in order to nurture talent, so that we get to a point where you're talking about?
Some of the initiatives cannot work well without the right policy framework and support. So I will start by, you know, having the right policy frameworks and standardization. For example, for you to host a national game as an institution, there are some things you need to have set in regards to infrastructure and all that.
Sure.
What will that make, or what will that do? That will lead to schools upgrading their infrastructure. So if you upgrade your infrastructure, that means you're creating an environment to learn. The same way with a classroom, there's some things you need to do some things. So you need to upgrade those infrastructure. That's one thing that I would suggest. Another thing that we need to, you know, work on is create that support system of an athlete to be able to excel. If you look at the last Olympics, we had, I think, about, I can't remember, but we improved between the last Olympics and the other one. We improved by two or three medals, you know. I think 13 and 14, or 12 and 14, something like that. I can't remember the exact number. To me, that's progress. But can we do better? Yes, we can. Why? I have 4 years to prepare these athletes to get more medals. And what does getting more medals mean? There's branding to that, there's money that comes into that, and there's huge returns to the nation. So we need to change and shift our mindset on how we view athletes, on how we view sports as an industry, and that will help, you know, get to improve some of these things moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and when you look at Kenya, you know, and how we're known out there, Matters Sports, we are known for our athletes. That's the track athletes, right?
Yeah.
We're known for our runners. So probably what are we doing there that we're not doing to these other sports, like you know, football, which in Kenya we have many fans, you know, football fans to be specific, fanatics I would say, but our Kenyan football team doesn't really get to, you know, places where we'd say, okay, yeah, we are known for football as well. So probably just from, you know, from your knowledge of the sports industry and sports development in general, just what is it that we are doing here that we're not doing here? What is it that should be done?
I'd say standardization. If you look at the athletes, the track guys, track and field, they have some standardized procedures and how they do things to get to the toppest. So if we standardize all sports, and second thing to take away is also if we take away corruption, you know, greed for money. You know, there's one thing that I believe always is the cake is enough for all of us. You know, at the end of the day, the cake is enough for all of us.
That's true.
It's only our mindset that usually thinks I need to rack up more so that the other one doesn't get, or this is my time, I need to do this and this. So as young guys, as the youth, I encourage youth to let's start transforming our mindset from I need to carry everything. This is my position right now. Let me take advantage of it. No, just do the right thing that you need to do in that God-given position to ensure that everyone gets a piece of the cake. So those are the problems that comes with these other sports and challenges that come with that. Then there are different components to success and preparation of athletes. If you look at track and field, we have the natural altitude, we have the natural components. All you just need to do is get shoes or the right shoes to train and then hit the road. Then figure out little bits on nutrition and all that. It's not that so much expensive. But now when you come to these other sports, for you to play basketball, you need a rim or a hoop, and you need a basketball good court. For you to play football, you need, you know, the different components of football. Is it the field? Is it the poles? Is it the boots? You know, for you to play hockey, you need sticks and all that, you see. So you realize that we excel so much in that because there's no much input in terms of capital for you to start. But these other ones, there's lots of capital that's needed for something to happen, you see. So if we support and we put in the right money towards supporting sports, and right management is done within the sporting federations, lack of corruption or reduced to the minimum percentage possible, then we'll start seeing success. I mean, look at how much what Ferdinand has done just by his own personal initiative of wanting to run. Look at javelin, Yego. You see?
Self-taught.
So, self-taught. Now imagine if he had a support system, how much more would he have done? You see? Fadi started being coached, you know, three years later after he got into it. It was part of when he was starting, he was self-taught. YouTube, seeing things, going to do, you see? But if we have those structures, then we can grow. But if we build something without a system and a structure, then it flops.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
Maybe
it's short-lived.
Yeah, I get you on that. Maybe just how can we incorporate, or how rather can schools and communities play a bigger role in just ensuring that we're identifying, you know, the right talents from that age, you know, from a very young age, so that they get to be nurtured?
Yeah, this comes with the introduction of, you know, scouts. And as I told you, we'll be forced into these things because of our youthful population is growing 2050, 2060. Because the West, their young people won't be so much. So there are things that we'll be forced to develop, which is scouting talent from a young age. If you realize nowadays parents are, oh, weekend, WhatsApps, you come, we hang out. Maybe if you're having friends and they have a young one, no, I'm taking my son for football academy. I'm going to watch my daughter swim, you see. So doing such things, the current youthful parents are doing that really well. So supporting your talent, your child, supporting their talent, seeing what they're interested in, what they do effortlessly, and once you scout that, then from the home level, start building it up slowly by slowly, exposing them to games, exposing them to coaches, exposing them to, oh, there's a workshop in sports happening. Let me go with my daughter, let me go with my son, just sit there and let him be around these people, you see. Then also creating meet and greet sessions, you know, meet and greet sessions with athletes and those upcoming. So this is under the academy levels. In Kenya so far, there are lots of academies that has come up across all sports. DBA Africa doing their rugby thing, and all these other guys doing their things.
Which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. The only thing that I urge them to do is don't think much of competition, but how can all these people work together? Because there are lots of people. If I come to you, I'm not a competitor. We are just helping each other for healthy competition and work together towards building this thing up.
Yeah. And even as you are on that journey of just trying to build, you know, the sports industry from the smallest capacity that you can, maybe what are some of the challenges that you'd say you encounter?
Balancing, you know.
Yeah.
For me to do what I do, I have to do other things to fund what I do. So getting to strike that balance is a huge challenge. Two, creating awareness of something that people have never thought of sometimes is a huge challenge as well, because someone has grown thinking this way. So trying to transform their mindset is a huge challenge, but you're working on it well. In fact, this Friday, which I know we'll be having a workshop on building resilience, integrating mental health and psychotherapy for optimal sports performance. So we use such opportunities, you know, to solve some of these things of creating awareness and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basic challenges are those. Those are the two main basic challenges that I experience.
You just mentioned you'll be having a workshop on Friday?
Friday, 31st.
Yeah. So just what's the importance of having such, you know, whereby we just have these people who are in sports come together, get to learn something, you know, get to learn the other thing. Just what's the importance of having that? And it's not just about you going to the field training and, you know, just also just building your mental capacity as well.
Yes, so the importance of this is you get to network. You get to hear from other people. You get, you know, iron sharpens iron. You get to sharpen each other. And you get to create an environment where people who are thinking alike come in one room. They might not all think alike, but they have components where they think similar. And that helps you come out of that place really transformed. This specific one is on mental health and psychotherapy in sports. Psychotherapy in sports, we have not yet embraced it well much yet here in Kenya. So we are trying to create awareness of that. Why? Sports is between your ears, which is your mind. And also the word of God says the battlefield is in the mind. So as an athlete, if your mind is not right, you can't perform in the high level.
For sure.
So we are trying to train these athletes, coaching staff, and you know, team owners and sports administrators on the importance of understanding an athlete and their mind and the issues that they go through. A good example, as you said, you know, we see you on TV as an athlete in Kenya, in other sports minus track and field, but when you come back home, things are different. You're not paid well. You know, you're home sometimes, your son sees you on TV and they see Cristiano too. You tell your son you don't have money. Your son is like, I see you in TV like Cristiano. What do you mean, Dad? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So all these things get to affect an athlete's performance. And that's all that happens. Those are battles in the mind. And if you know how to conquer your mind, trust you me, you can conquer anything in this world.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. Mental health, mental wellness is everything really. Once that is in check, then you can get to maneuver anything that comes your way.
Yes.
You know, even as we talk about this, you mentioned about the infrastructures or the resources needed for some of these sports, or to get to be in some of these sports for you to excel as well. Maybe just where do you feel the government should come in, and also not just the government but also private entities of the same mindset? Where's the gap, in case any one of them is listening and, you know, maybe they're wondering where's that gap that we can come fill?
The first gap I'd like to address is, I'll address about 4 gaps. The first gap I'd like to address is from the federation standpoint, from managers of sports. Please do the right thing with the money that corporates give you, because that is what is holding corporates from investing in sports. If we do the right thing with that and don't mismanage it, and reduce it to the least possible percentage, then we've reduced that gap. Secondly, the second gap is I'd like to encourage, you know, more corporates, more philanthropists, more, let's invest in sports. You won't fail with that. Trust you me. You won't fail with that. Sports is one thing that brings the whole world together, that brings everyone together. just identify which sport, just identify which athletes to invest in that align with your values and what you work with in your organizations, and you won't fail. You won't fail. That's another gap that we'd like to cover. The third gap that I'd like to address and put out there is the name is going away, but it's called the health side of it. You know, how do you call this thing that covers health?
Insurance.
Insurance. You know, we'd like to throw it out there, you know, for insurance companies. Look for ways in which our athletes get to be insured. There are lots of guys go compete for the national team. You know, guys never know about all this. We just see the glamour.
Yeah.
But when these athletes get injuries, most of them go through hell, lack of a better word, because they take time before surgery is done. Why? There's no proper insurance. There are no policies for that. So if we cover that gap, then that means a healthy athlete, a healthy mind will be able to, will see huge things. If we can be this good and we've not corrected all these things, just imagine how much good will be if we just correct a few things just by 30 or 40%. Kenya will be ranking higher and higher in sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is we need to have more investors who
Yes.
come on board to invest in sports personalities,
And
to
in-
to invest in sports in general,
Yeah.
sports development, because there's a future that is
Huge.
really just you know looking at us,
Yes.
waiting on us to just put effort, right?
Yes. Trust you me, it's already happening. Lots of universities in the US are already calling up vice chancellors, universities here in Kenya. Hey, are you having any talent in basketball? I won't mention names, but I'm aware of lots of guys, lots of institutions calling up, hey, are you having any talent in football, in basketball, in track, in rugby, that we can transcend this rugby player to play NFL? You know, there's that demand.
Yeah.
Because, as I said, the youthful population is dwindling and ours is growing and growing. So they have to fulfill and ensure their product doesn't fail. So the demand is there. It's just us to now adjust a few things and we'll be in market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even as we call upon, you know, the big investors, even if we can just start from home.
Yes.
You know, for maybe you can speak to a parent who knows their child loves this particular sport. They just love they love playing football. They love maybe playing table tennis or whatever sport. If you can just speak to that parent who is watching right now and they know my kid loves this sport or my kid is talented in this particular area.
Yeah. So first I'd like to recommend, there's a parent, I won't mention his name, but this parent, I'd like to recommend, this guy has inspired me a lot. They kept me away from going for Christmas holiday, but it was a sacrifice for their daughter, you know. They called me and say, hey, we'd like our daughter to get better in the game of basketball. And they told me, hey, what can we do? How can we improve? How can we do this? So I'd like to urge parents, you know, out there, guardians,
Yeah.
emulate these two parents, you know. They sacrificed their Christmas holiday and we worked with the daughter, and if the dad wasn't there, the mom was there. The whole session
Oh, wow.
with a 14-year-old daughter. And then through Christmas, we only braked for 2 or 3 days, 25th, 26th, 27th, we were back working. And do you know what this did? The feedback they were getting is she improved on, not just in court, but also at home, how she did the chores. She wasn't lazy now. She was doing things at home. She was moving. She had discipline. So sports is just within the fields. But the ripple effect of the impact of what we learn in sports is a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
And it translates to how you discipline you are also in life and out of life. So I'd encourage parents, guardians, trust you me, if you see your child is into sports, don't force them. If they are in, support them.
Yeah.
Support them with the much you can. Don't do too much. I know you guys are balancing a lot, but the much you can, put that effort, you'll see the rewards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. And I also just to add on to it, I would say sports also helps or shapes a lot or has a lot
Yeah.
to do with one's discipline. All right, on that note, we take a break. We'll come back in a moment.